Hello, welcome to Business as Unusual. My name's John, and this is Andy.
Hi, Rob.
Andy is a digital marketing executive at Noisy Little Monkey. You may have heard of them. Represent. Um, Noisy Little Monkey is an agency that my wife and I founded about 11 years ago now. It's a digital marketing agency. Andy works there doing social
Great.
media, SEO, and CRO for our clients. And in these things, I normally ask people about what they do for their work. I'm going to ask Andy it, but his answers might be a bit biased because I can sack him. I'm obviously not going to do that because he's fantastic. But so, Andy, don't tell us about your work yet. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you like to do, and how you got into digital marketing.
Oh, great. Okay, origin story. When I was 11, we had a school's fair, and some guy from BBH, which is Bartleby and Hegarty, they're like an advertising agency, had a stall. And I talked to him for 20 minutes, and I was like, I'm going to work in marketing. It just amazed me.
Wow.
I love design and art, and I love like sociology and people, and so marketing is like the perfect combo. I actually really love it, and I'm not just saying that so you don't sack me.
Delightful. He really does. He really does.
I really do. Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to do digitally at the minute? Like when we're talking about marketing.
When we're talking about marketing, so what you mean in my job or just in my life?
In your life.
In my life. I mean, the bait answer is to say being on TikTok, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
But actually relevant, I've just got Twitter.
Wow.
Literally today, I promised myself I wouldn't get Twitter. Haven't had it for 10 years, got it today. So everybody follow me on Twitter. I'm at Human Satsuma. Get in.
What was it? What was the Twitter again?
At Human Satsuma. I used to have a shaved orange head, if you can imagine that.
Yeah. I'm putting that in the chat, Satsuma. Is it that?
Shameless plug. Absolutely shameless.
It is shameless. Oh gosh, one of us has got a bad internet connection. This is going to be perfect. I've put at Human Satsuma in the chat. Hopefully it's right. Tell me if it's right. Go follow that. I'll follow it at the end of this, but I've got too many screens open at the minute. But you're using that exclusively for kind of work type stuff. Are we not going to see any of the real Andy Thornton?
Well, will I do some fresh takes about diversity and inclusion? Probably. Yeah.
I'd be disappointed if you didn't.
But yeah, it's mainly a work situation. But then Noisy Little Monkey is so chill. But
wait till the new regime starts. No more chill then. Okay. So we've that's cool. So before we get on to the oh wait, don't plug Digital Gaggle in this webinar. Sorry if that distracts you. You're doing great, sweeties. Thanks everybody for popping stuff like that in the chat, Katie particularly. I was actually stopping there to plug Digital Gaggle in this webinar. Because we need to get you all there. It is our first in-person conference in 2 years since before the pandemic. It's a bit like this. It's slightly less chaotic because Claire Dibben actually manages it all. It's not me kind of just waving my arms at the front, although I will do some arm waving. Come along and join us. It's on Thursday, the 28th of October, at the Watershed, which is a really cool art house cinema in Bristol, and the tickets start at nothing. Well, we're almost, that's perfect. Right. We should work together. The tickets start at nothing. It's free to attend online, or it's 45 quid if you want some goodies and all of that kind of stuff. And I think there are some discounted tickets available online now. If you just search for Digital Gaggle, you'll be able to find the discounted tickets for in person. Andrea, don't tell me you're coming online. I would like to see you in person because I have a great love for you for a start. And I think we should build on that. But also, I'd like the £75, please, for the in-person ticket.
Honesty is always the best policy, don't
Andrea, we would love to see you online or in person. It will be a delight. Claire's going to email out the details tomorrow. Back to Andy Thornton, who is the digital marketing Act Noise Little Monkey, who's just set up Twitter. He was encouraged and excited by the idea of marketing by a man from BBH at the tender age of what? 10
or 11.
Wow.
Something like that.
That's incredible.
I was a bab. Yeah.
And so you're going to talk to us about TikTok. I know you use TikTok. That's a ridiculous question because I've seen your talks and your ticks.
I didn't before the pandemic though.
You didn't?
I didn't. I was one of these millennials who was like, I'm too old for TikTok. And then everyone was just so bored over COVID that I was like, look, we're here now.
Yeah. It's quite an addictive channel, isn't it? When you to make for and watch. Yeah,
extremely addictive. My housemate actually got it, watched it for 5 hours straight, and then deleted it. She was like, "This is too much. It's next level like addictive, but it's good." Yes, exactly, Ava. You cannot stop scrolling, which is what makes it a really good marketing platform. But
yeah, I mean, because it's designed to be addictive, isn't it? It's ruining society.
Single-handedly.
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, we're doing a pretty good job just being human beings, selfish pigs that we are. But TikTok is taking it one step further in terms of taking all of our attention.
Well, it's worse than all of the other social media channels. So the average person spends, I think, 58 minutes, so basically an hour on TikTok every day, whereas Instagram is more like half an hour.
Wow.
Average. So people are glued.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about how we can use this cultural phenomenon as for marketing. And I imagine there are looking at the answers that we did when we asked how many people are using it for marketing. And by the way, guys, throw questions in as we go. I can see Andy's eyes are either flicking up to a different screen where there is a picture of someone more attractive.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the chat. Phew. So stick questions in the chat as we go. But I guess one of the questions that I would ask, and thinking about people who aren't using it for business yet, their boss is going to ask, is why should a business use TikTok in their social strategy?
Before I answer that, can people put an emoji in the chat if they think that their business shouldn't get TikTok? I want to suss that while I talk. Great.
Bear in mind, it's not the emoji you thought about for a cough or a sneeze. Different emoji. So an emoji in the chat, please, if you think your business shouldn't
be on. If you think your business doesn't really work for TikTok. Although I think everybody who's here will be like, maybe. So we'll see. So how do you know TikTok is right for you? Oh, excellent.
No, I did that just to you. I've only done one emoji to Andy. I didn't follow my own.
Kate's on it. Kate knows.
Kate's on it.
Yeah. So if I was mathematical, I would make like a beautiful little formula, but I hate maths. So I'm just going to give you a little list of things to think about instead. First one would be target audience. So if your target audience is like 60 plus, I wouldn't get on TikTok, soz. Like you could, but probably not your best move. But we'll come into this later. Like TikTok's really good for brand awareness. So even if you have like an older target audience, it actually could still be worth being on TikTok. Second thing is, do you already use socials for marketing? Because whether you like it or not, TikTok is the next big social platform. It's not going away. Like all of the stats, all of the talk says that. And we'll get onto stats later if you're interested. So if you're already using socials for marketing, then like getting on TikTok is something that you're going to have to do eventually. And there's, I think, a lot of benefit of being one of the earlier people to do it, because you'll work it out. Yeah. And then by the time other people kind of crawl on, you look great in comparison to them. So make yourself a market leader, get on TikTok. There's a soundbite for you, tweet me. The next thing is think about your personas and your objectives. So as much as like from a personal perspective, get on TikTok, because then, like me, you can literally get paid to just stuff about the office. Sorry, John. And film it. It's great. You know, if you want to think about like what are your goals, and if you're trying to kind of attract more customers, if you're trying to like build brand awareness, like TikTok can be really good for that. So that's like kind of the main things. One thing I would say is like, it's easy to start a TikTok. It's not easy to start a good TikTok, which is
right.
why you're all here. But the way that, and sorry if you know this already, well, you might. Actually, I don't think you do, but other people might.
I'm 51 years old. I don't know this already.
TikTok has loads of different sections. So like we talk about like queer TikTok, or we talk about like fashion TikTok. And because the algorithm works out what it thinks you want to see, there are whole bits of TikTok that I never see. And I didn't think it was to the extent it was until I saw a TikTok that was like all of the viral songs, which aren't even related to like my interest. And someone was doing a comparison of straight TikTok and queer TikTok, and the straight person knew none of them. And I was like, oh. So it's just in case you didn't know, I'm queer. I've got the haircut. I think it's obvious. So with that, like, if you have to like really think about your personas, I'm hoping that everyone here knows what persona is, but it's like the kind of ideal customer, like person that is interested in your product, service, brand, etc. And like think about what they'd watch on TikTok. So it's a really good like persona exercise to kind of get in their head and then get onto that side of TikTok, because then you'll be able to pick up those trends and those sounds and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it kind of does. It really does. And we must come to stats if we can. But thinking about like the sort of stuff that everybody watches on TikTok, and I guess it's the same with every social media, right? The stuff that brands do is really fucking dull, and the stuff that people do is often, you know, particularly if it's accidentally funny, is it often even more viral? So how do we square that circle? How does a brand?
Well, this is the thing that I love about TikTok, is that that's not the case on TikTok. Okay. So like there's going to be loads of really excellent digital marketing people on here who are used to making like really beautiful adverts or like display pictures. Yeah, so Samantha, this is exactly what I'm about to say. You should come up here and lead it with me, honestly. Is that on TikTok, like the lower production value, the better. If you see an advert on TikTok, great, I'll book you in. If you see an advert on TikTok, you just skip it. But if you see something like somebody just talking to the camera, like in a really chill way, you're going to be interested in what they're saying. So it's a completely different like strategy and like content production than on all the other socials. My favorite example of this is Costa, who ran what must have been quite an expensive TikTok campaign to get onto the For You page, which is like the main scroll. Oh, I'm going to have to blow my nose.
Can we have emojis? I don't think we said this, but it is a cold symptom. So thank you, Sam.
Thanks,
brilliant.
Great. Great emoji choices from you all. So, where were we? Yeah, if you Costa did a like kind of For You page, very on point, Abby. For You page.
Sorry to stop you in where you've already forgotten your place. Remember the Costa For You page campaign. With it. You sneezing, coughing, or blowing your nose. That's a nose blow, everyone. Emojis, please. The weird emoji thing has just absolutely made my week. Guys, that does count as a nose blow, and we need some emojis.
I was going to say, I can't take credit. It's Josh Baldwin, 150%.
Right.
A true genius. Okay, so back on topic. Costa, they did a set of very expensive, very flashy adverts with voice actors to get on the For You page, but they completely got the format wrong, because TikTok, you use other people's like audio and you make your own imagery. That's the fundamental way that TikTok works. But they used different audio each time, but had really similar imagery, and it was really like advert flashy. And the comments were just like, never buying Costa again.
Oh my gosh.
This is horrific. And they actually like had it out early and have now changed into more like TikTok style. So like, the biggest takeaway I can give you is put the production value down to about 0%.
Right.
Like compared to that, innocent drinks, if anyone's seen their TikTok,
friends of the show.
Yeah, it is so bad. It's so bad that it's viral and everyone absolutely loves it because it's just some idiot messing about at home, and people couldn't believe that was innocent drinks. So like having low production value, very ridiculous, very high chaos. Ryanair's TikTok's another one. They just kind of feature all their really hot air attendants, and everyone's like, we're here for this. And they do filters over the planes as if they could talk. And like, those are obviously both consumers, but like the Washington Post, which has a very kind of formal and like authoritative brand voice normally, their TikTok is some guy faffing about in his kitchen, because like that's what TikTok likes. So Ian's just asked, does brand identity matter as much within content? Interestingly phrased question, because I think brand identity does matter in the sense of, if you look at the content that Innocent creates, it is all very much like, you could tell that was an Innocent TikTok over something else. Same as Ryanair, like they have a similar energy, but it's like, or Planet Money do like a similar person, similar kind of format, and that makes them really recognizable and builds the brand. So those kind of principles of brand awareness still count. It's just that it doesn't have to be the same brand voice as your normal stuff.
Yeah. Before you answer Kate's great question, which frankly, my answer is who cares? But then,
of course it is.
That's why I run Noise Little Monkey and not a big advertising agency. When we're talking about brand identity within the content, lots of old school marketers will go, well, where can I smash how can people see the logo and all of that kind of stuff? We're not talking about that, are we? No. Yes, it would equal reputational risk for you, Katie.
Kate's just that I work for a hospice.
But yeah,
we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that.
What, the reputational risk bit or the brands?
Yeah, reputational risk. Well, you say what you were saying.
So let's say we're not making a Noise Little Monkey one, but we're making one for a company that sells
for a hospice. Let's do Kate's example.
Do it for a hospice. So if you're doing it then for a hospice, I suppose we're not going to plaster the logo all over the back of it.
Yeah, so I think one of the big things that makes TikTok useful is that it's addictive and it's shareable. Like the people want the classic kind of inbound marketing principle is create content that adds value, right?
Yeah.
People on TikTok are not interested in your white paper. They're not. Like, but what is valuable to people on TikTok is being able to send that to a friend, and then they've given them something interesting or funny or relatable or good, right? So there's so much kind of like there's so much like virality. That's not really a word, but like it spreads a lot more than other social stuff. So by doing something good, people will talk about it. Like news stories run all the time about like this has happened on TikTok or that has happened. Like it's very much something that like gets reported on outside of the app. So in that sense, like, does chaos equal reputational risk? You can afford to be a lot more chaotic on TikTok than out of TikTok because people on TikTok expect it.
Right.
But obviously, like, there were so many news articles about innocent drinks and their TikTok. So, you know, you can't just be like, oh, it's on TikTok, so no one will see. I think the thing with like Kate's example of a hospice is value doesn't have to mean funny. I know someone's talked about like, what if you're not funny?
Yeah, Margaret
First of all, if you're not funny, overcommit. overcommit into not being funny.
So like what, like be ultra serious, or just try and be funny but be
No,
crap at
be
it?
like so Innocent Smoothie, their first TikTok was a fidget spinner, and it said, we've started TikTok to be down with the kids. I think we've nailed it.
Right.
Which is just so obviously not down with the kids and stupid
Yeah.
that they nailed it.
Yeah.
So if you're not funny, lean in.
Right.
Like, be like, this is bad.
Yeah.
And then yeah, thank you. Katie, that's fab. I will stop talking about
I think
Innocent
you're
Smoothie.
answering
There
those
are loads
questions
of
as we
other
go.
examples.
If
Yeah,
you
I am answering some of them. Might not probably not.
No, I'm catching most of them as well. So if you missed them, I'm taking it back.
In terms of reputational risk, like I think all creative campaigns, there is an element of risk in them. But for instance, if you're a hospice, instead of like trying to make jokes, why don't you do TikToks of like people in the hospice telling stories from their life? Like people would love that. That's beautiful. That's like valuable. And then you show through that, because it gets shared, because it gets liked. First of all, you're like just creating content that is on brand, but secondly, you're like more people will see that. That is brand awareness. So
Yeah.
as much as like you might not get, but then this is the thing, right? So your target market, people who are like moving into hospice, I don't know, actually you could be a child hospice, you could,
Or it
but
might be a
like let's
charity and they
say,
might be looking for donations or whatever.
yeah, and kids can share things with their family. Like people share TikToks a lot. That's like one of the big kind of parts of it. So it
Yeah.
happens.
I think you've got the option of making people tell jokes, or not making them. That would be a bit much. Let's not use cattle prods on the people. But asking them what their favorite joke is, that still works. I think it's I'm thinking back to our friend Tiff Maddox, who ran Rubber Republic, and is a really brilliant advert director. And one of the things that she had an acronym, and I can remember the acronym. I can't remember what it all stood for. And the acronym was ARSE, ARSE.
Of course you could remember it, John.
Yeah, of course. But the first one was authenticity. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? If you know you're unfunny or your subject's unfunny, well, maybe you can be funny in a sensitive way, but whatever you do, it's got to be authentic to the brand or to the business or to the charity that you're working
so
for.
like National Rail is on TikTok. I can't think of anything less funny than National Rail, God bless. But they're doing lots of stuff around like people's journeys and around like representing different people, because that's what's important to their brand. So you can fantastic, Margaret. You can like it. I'm not saying go on TikTok and throw your brand voice out the window. Like be authentic, but I think that's the point. Like be more authentic on TikTok than you are anywhere else.
Yeah.
And then the other thing to say is, if you really can't, so for instance, like say, I don't know, you're a very formal, boring company, whatever that means for you, and you're like, I will not ever be able to put our company on TikTok. A big thing that people are doing is having employees on TikTok.
Yeah.
So there's a huge story. I've written a blog that includes some of the stuff I'm saying on our noisylittlemonkey.com/blog.
Yeah.
Find it there on TikTok, and then there's a link to it there. But Walmart have done like a massive thing of loads of people who work for them on TikTok and like do TikToks about working for them, and that's been really, really successful. So something else you can do is like pick one or two people who use TikTok personally, so therefore kind of know what they're doing, and get them on TikTok, but like very much like I'm on TikTok and I work for
people who are already doing it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and then you can kind of publicize that way. Thanks, Katie. You are such a star. Late to the game, John. But yeah, so that's something. And then also, even if you do have a company TikTok, it works really well to have one or two people who are in most of the TikToks, because again, it's about creating that kind of like standard format, recognizable person, then it feels more personal.
Yeah, cool. Brilliant. Margaret, you need to set your chat to everyone rather than just hosts and panelists, because Andy and I are enjoying both your question and your follow-up brilliance, but other people are missing out, and that's fine. But
Great.
we'll just share that moment between us three, Margaret. Um, Thanks, mate. Okay, we've really delved into some of the stuff that you could do and what other brands are doing. We were going to talk about stats, and some do nots. So
Yes.
here's some stats first. I mean,
So
obviously over 60s aren't on TikTok much, but are other people my age on it? I'm 51 years old.
so how old are you, John? I didn't hear that.
51, 1 years.
And you're looking great. So I find this
Pay rise for Mr. Thornton.
Oh my god. I am more blunt because I'm ill, but I find this question boring, no offense, just because just because there is constant articles. Dibs shared one about how TikTok's now overtaken YouTube. Like there are constant articles, we'll come to that later, Samantha, thanks for asking, about like how big TikTok is, and it's only getting bigger. Like there are 3.7 million active users in the UK. That number is growing all of the time. So when we talk about like how many people are on TikTok, I'm like, so many, and it's only going to get bigger. What number is going to be enough for you that you're like, okay, now there's that many people, I'm
Yeah.
going. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we know that the trend is this. We know you're going to have to be on it at some point. So start early. The age ranges are interesting. So 26% of UK users are 18 to 24, and only 9.3% are 25 to 34. So obviously that's a small percentage. When we're talking 3.7 million users, like that's still a lot of people, right?
And as you say, the trend is
going up, and like because it's getting so big, it started off very much culturally as like only for kids, and that's now changing. So more and more people are joining. There are a surprising number of 40-year-olds on it. Like it is going up. And also, don't underestimate the millennial. Like I'm 24. I talk to the CEO of my company occasionally. I mean, I'm doing it right now. So you know, like those people still have clout. So even if you're B2B, like that's still someone seeing you, and that's still awareness. And those people in a year will be maybe even more important. Do you know?
Yeah, I think I think you make great points. We've got a couple of questions which we'll come to at the end. Thanks, Samantha and Margaret.
Keep sending them
do
in.
those at the end. What should we avoid doing on TikTok?
Okay, great question. So as I mentioned before, like
Claire wrote it.
you're just a pretty face, aren't you? Really?
That's all I am.
The first thing is like don't advertise. So as we said, like don't do too flashy, too like buy our thing. Which you know, I don't know how many people here are inbound as like in comparison to outbound, but like you know, it's more about adding value. It's more about content. As we said again, don't overproduce. So like you can literally just be sitting at your desk and be like, "Hi, I'm doing a TikTok." Done. Prioritize the personal. Like TikTok is very it's very personal, and there's a lot more kind of like therapy stuff, or like there's a huge like ADHD and autism TikTok, which you just don't have as much on other platforms. Like people get really real. I think partly because you often only get shown to like people who are exactly the same as you, which is kind of creepy, but we're moving on. So make it about a personal experience. Like why should people believe in your brand? Like why do you love working there? If you don't, then pretend. And do that kind of thing, and then focus on that. So something, for instance, for Noisy Little Monkey, we do a lot of like having a great time in the office, which is ridiculous because when we're not making TikToks, we're all like working very hard. But we do a lot of like, oh, we all love each other because we do, and that's like what we prioritize, and what customers say about working for us is like we're really fun to work with. We're actually honest and we care about it. So that's what we try and focus on. So it's just about like, kind of trying to get to the personal thing behind it.
Yeah.
The other thing is, don't panic. Like your first TikTok is not going to be a success. That's fine. What's different about TikTok to Instagram is like, so for my personal TikTok, which I'm not going to share on this, I did a few that did okay, and then suddenly I did one that got like 30,000 views. So you just keep going and keep putting stuff out, and eventually something will kind of go viral. The other thing not to do is don't see a trend, plan a TikTok for 3 weeks, and then post it, because you're too late.
Right.
Like, see a trend, do it that day, whack it out. It won't be that as good as if you planned it, but you're way more likely to actually get seen on it.
Right. Okay. So if you're going to jump on a bandwagon, do it now with authenticity. Don't do it. Don't set up the shoot, script it, get everybody into the office. Okay. Can you advertise on it?
You can advertise on it. There's paid advertising.
Can the likes of us advertise on it? It looks like it's always big brands I see when I go on.
Yeah, so there's lots of different options. You can do lenses, which cost a fortune. You can do like kind of the first screen, which is when someone opens the app, that's an advert. You can also do branded hashtags. The minimum spend is $500.
Oh, like, right, not much.
Start. Yeah,
hardly
so
anything. That's something most businesses can afford.
Easily. Yeah, and they've changed it into like coins to gamify it. But yeah, the minimum is 500. I think it costs like 2 pence per view. Let me check. I've got it written down. Yeah, so it's 50 pence per mile, which is 1,000 views, and it's 0.2 cost per click.
Okay.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, and then a lot of people, so that you can have branded hashtags, and a lot of people will just put a branded hashtag in a completely irrelevant video to get it seen.
Yeah.
But also like that's brand awareness. So
yeah,
kind of fun. Yeah. But yeah, so that's definitely an option. They're starting to really push that more. So like we got an example for we got an offer that to give us a bunch of free coins if we spent a little bit. So yeah, it's definitely like a real possibility for a lot of people.
Cool. More questions. Thank you, Ian. I'll add that to the question thing. I just want to check. Can you hear the scaffolders rave coming in through my window?
No.
Okay. Cool.
I can't.
Right. I will. Scaffolders rave sounds like the
sounds
worst
like an indie
album
band
ever
name.
made.
Yeah. Great.
Okay. So we've talked about whether or not it's right for some businesses and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We've talked about the sort of stuff you could do. If I'm, in fact, as a director of a business that wants to acquire more customers and make more money, albeit in an authentic and generous, loving way, but you know, when none of us get paid for
we all live
having
in
a good time without us having customers. How do I you know, how does that fit in as part of the inbound sales process? I'm getting brand awareness. How do I get them to come to my business and then buy from me? Or at least how do I get them to come to my business?
The big thing is it's attract. So it's just about like more brand awareness, more conversations. And I think that's one of the things that I really love about TikTok, is because it is still about value, but it's about like personal value.
Right.
So it's a really good way. Like, you know how everyone who's on Twitter is really smug about Twitter?
Yeah, probably. I'm smug about it. I just thought, I
hate it. I got so bored of people being smug on Twitter. I've got on Twitter. Another plug. But like it's even worse on TikTok. Like people on TikTok flipping love TikTok. Sorry, Katie. So I think like if you see a brand relatively successful, like doing something that's relatively interesting and sweet on TikTok, like you will appreciate that brand much more than maybe if you saw a good Instagram ad, because it feels really personal. I think because you know it's TikTok saying this is like similar to you. You get so used to seeing people who are the same as you that if you see a brand, you're like, oh, this brand is for people like me, and that's really powerful. Where was I going with that? What was your question?
Well, my question was, how do we get people to come to us? But you're saying
Oh
it's a
yeah, so
practice,
then
just get them to, it is really awareness and
awareness,
yeah,
but then also like you benefit from a huge reach. It's a lot more it shows it to a lot more people than just the people who follow you. Like Instagram is really quite closed down, and they're actually starting
right,
to change that now because they've seen how popular TikTok is, and that's
yeah,
why it's popular. Um, the other thing is cross posting. Like a lot of marketing is disruption. Like we post all of our TikToks on LinkedIn, and we get really high engagement for those posts because everyone's like, I haven't seen a TikTok on LinkedIn for like 20 minutes,
yeah.
scrolling in my lunchtime. So that works as well. And it also makes you better because, as I said, like creating a good TikTok, you have to really think about your personas
Yeah.
and your brand personas. And like, if you're doing that, that's going to make you better everywhere else.
And we see people doing it a lot on Instagram as well for consumer brands, bringing the TikTok across to Instagram, right? Am I
Yeah,
right in
because
that?
Instagram have Reels, so
Yeah,
which is basically a fob off of TikTok, and
yeah,
pretty much everyone just posts TikToks on Reels. So
yeah.
you can use your TikToks on Instagram, you can use them on LinkedIn, you can like yeah, you can cross post a lot. And also like as I said, there was a whole thing with Ocean Spray cranberry juice that like had a viral thing on TikTok, and again like the media just didn't stop going on about it because it's easy likes for them. So if you have a PR kind of angle to your marketing, like get on TikTok, because
Right.
if you can get one thing viral, that's a ton of links
Yeah,
done.
yeah. Okay. Um, we've talked about it being a tract. We've got some guys. Slap any questions you have in the chat. There are plenty
We've
coming
had some
in.
really good ones.
Yeah, we have. We've got we've talked about repurposing TikToks elsewhere. We've you kind of answered that as you went. Uh, we have Margaret Doverton again. I think asked, is there any trend of people abandoning Instagram for TikTok, the slicker, even though
Mm.
Instagram's getting slicker?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. TikTok works as a full platform, like you can message on it, etc., etc. So I think there are lots of people who are only on TikTok. That's a feeling, not a stat. I don't think Instagram's dying anytime soon, but I do also think that like no one prefers Reels to TikTok.
Yeah,
So it's not like yeah, it's TikTok's still going to take over. I just don't think it's going to replace it quite yet.
yeah.
That's my hot take.
I like it's a great hot take. Let me skip back to these questions over here, back to the chat.
Can I
So
ask a question myself of
yes,
everyone
please
watching?
do.
What terrifies you most about starting a business TikTok? Because then I can answer that.
Cool. Put what terrifies you most about starting a business TikTok in the chat.
Yeah.
Um,
Or what's
uh,
stopping you?
what was the other one? We had one from
We've had loads of good ones,
oh,
John. Have
Ian
you not been
Matheson.
paying any attention?
No, you've answered them as you've gone. I'm ticking them off, but I hadn't seen I had seen Ian Matheson's and I couldn't see it again. Any tips? Not TikToks.
Any TikTok
Any
tips?
tips for TikTok influencer outreach?
Great question. There's actually a link which I will post in the chat now, which TikTok does the hard work for you. So they have a kind of like marketplace for creators, and then you can like find creators that suit you there, and you can see like what kind of stuff they do and like their costs and everything like that. The other thing is like, yeah, if you can, I mean, we say this, the amount of times that people say talk to your customers and no one does, but like talk to your customers, find
Yeah,
out who they follow on TikTok, find out the kind of people that they like. Because like that's where like TikTok will do all of the work for you. Like their algorithm is second to none. So if you can get your hands on like the people that is showing that like one persona is being shown, inevitably that's what everyone else like them will also be seeing.
yeah.
You see what I mean?
Um, yeah, and man, if I can add a little bit to that, if I may, um, often TikTokers have Instagram, good TikTokers have
Yeah,
good Instagram and often good YouTube accounts.
yeah.
And doing a deal with those influencers to get them to create content for or repurpose that content on all of their channels is kind of like, it's like I've seen a few people miss it, and indeed I've missed it, going, oh, make this for TikTok, and then you go, oh man, they have even more followers on Instagram. And also the engagement rates on TikTok
they're amazing.
versus other channels are huge.
This is the other thing, like we've not talked about sign off, but like the watches on TikTok are so huge in comparison to Instagram likes and stuff. So like in terms of reporting, it's a really good way to give your numbers a little bit of a boost. Like, everything's relative, they don't know that. But no, so don't tell John. And it makes it look like you're doing a really good job, which you are. Like it's true that like that many people have seen it, but it's just because it's such a big platform.
Yeah, eyeballs are less expensive, and engagement is less expensive on TikTok, I'm pretty sure. Certainly from the little data sets we've looked at. Go on, what were you going to say?
Just that Kate said manpower is preventing us, which I think is like really, really valid. And the main thing with that is, just doing them quickly. And just like, if you only do 4, then, you've started. The thing that's interesting about TikTok is the feed works in a really strange way, unlike Instagram, where you'll see something on your feed and I'll like click on the creator and they would have posted that like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So stuff that you do now is still going to be being shown to new people in like a year or in like, however long. So even if you only get time to do a few, that's still like collecting awareness, if that makes sense. Yeah. And the big thing is like, we are the first X on TikTok,
Yeah.
You can get a lot of clout for that.
We're talking to a lot of, or I'm talking to 2 or 3 clients about, why aren't you going to be the first X on TikTok? Okay, so Katie Roberts, never heard of her, has asked, how often should brands be posting on TikTok?
Oh, as often as you like. I mean, the influence will post like flipping constantly, but also some people post like rarely. I think
give us a definition for rarely, and give us a definition.
I don't know, like often. Once every couple of weeks.
Right.
The thing about it is nobody has any clue.
Right.
Like I'm sitting here, like I flipping know anything. I don't know anything. I know a few things, but it's so new that we don't have all of the handbooks yet. We don't have all of the data yet, especially not for businesses. So I think a lot of it is just feeling it out. And it's the same for any social channel. Like what is good for you might not be good for other people.
Yeah.
So if it takes you 2 weeks, like in terms of the amount of capacity you have to make good TikToks, and when I say good, I don't mean good production value. I mean that you've just thought about it for 2 minutes and then done it. Like that's still better than not posting anything. So don't think, oh God, I'm going to have to suddenly commit to doing a TikTok every week. Like just get it up. That's okay.
Okay. Claire Lamb asks, should we be using hashtags? If so, how many?
So again, there's no like proper data on this, but from my research and experience and general energy, you always use the hashtag FYP, right. Or hashtag FYP is like little 2 lines and a smiley face. Don't know why, but it's really successful. And then a few that are relevant. So if you're doing research in terms, again, of your brand personas and what kind of hashtags they'd be following. So like, I don't know, for us, it would be maybe like marketing or like HubSpot tips or, whatever. If you start typing something in, it shows you how many views each of those hashtags has had. So like focus on ones that obviously have had loads of views. In terms of how many, I think the best thing to do is to switch it up. Like if you stick, I don't know, 20 or 10 hashtags, but you don't have much room, first of all, the comment, and the comment goes over the TikTok.
Yeah.
So please, for the love of God, do not put your captions under your comment, because then you can't read your comment and you can't read your captions, and then that's a terrible time. So yeah, the caption goes to the bottom, but your like if you do CCs, which is closed captions, we've got that on now. Definitely do those for your videos. It's accessible, and also people scroll without sound, but put those up somewhere that isn't over the description. But yeah, I'd say For some, don't do any hashtags just because you're edgy. And then for some, do like 3 or 4, and for some, fill it. And then see what works for your brand. And don't be afraid to use branded hashtags because everybody does. It's a bit cheeky, but it's fun.
Which kind of makes the point, if you're new to it, it's probably worth doing quite a few, like one a day or something for a few weeks, because then you can experiment with hashtags and captions and all of that kind of stuff. But particularly with hashtags, getting that right.
And you can always delete ones that are bad.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Cool. Okay, so we've got a real particular question, and we've got 3 questions left to cram into the next 6-ish minutes.
All right, we'll do them fast.
So Samantha Steele works for a travel company, and most of her videos so far have had to be stock videos. I guess I would be worried about putting a face to the brand for the worry it wouldn't be relevant.
Interesting.
Thoughts?
Worried it wouldn't be relevant. So travel company, I suppose, when you say stock videos, are they your stock videos or are they bought? Because if they're your stock videos, absolutely use them. Like if you're a travel company, really what you want to be doing is posting loads of stunning videos of like, isn't this place gorgeous, with really popular audios over the top, and then a link in the description like, come here, it's great. So you don't have to put a person to it. I suppose in my head I was thinking of like SaaS and like products that you can't really make TikToks about, but if you're a travel company, like get in. And there's loads of TikToks that are photo, like you use photos and it puts them together, so look at those as well, because you'll have photos of your places. And
I would suggest that if you've got people going to those places, like 1 in 10 of them is going to have TikTok. I would say, look, we'll give you a bottle of champagne if you make us a TikTok, tag us in it, or however that works.
And you can duet as well. So if you can find people who have done that, you can duet with them, which is where you put your TikTok next to theirs, and you can literally just do that as a way of, like, celebrities do that all the time as a way of promoting fan stuff. So you could do that as well.
Your idea gets a great idea endorsements from Samantha Steele. She was clearly so blown away by my initial idea that she wasn't able to even type. Okay. Lovely Josh Marston asks, oh, hang on a second. Sorry, Josh, we're going to come to yours. We've got, oh no, we did do Sam's. Okay. Are companies and brands covered to use the music on TikTok, or do you have to pay royalties?
Absolutely not. So that's what's so good about TikTok, is you can just use other people's stuff. And I actually don't know if they get paid for it or not.
I bet they don't.
I don't think they do. But there have been so many people who have been made famous by TikTok that, like, the more people use their music on TikTok, the better it is for them. So like there's so many Spotify playlists of like TikTok songs. It's all we listen to in our house, which is embarrassing. So like, no, you don't have to pay. If you start recording as TikTok, you'll have a little ad sound at the top. Click that, and then you can search for things. You can see things that are trending, etc. I've not done any of the like, this is practically how you use it, because I feel like that's all stuff that people can Google, and I didn't want to waste their time. But I'm on LinkedIn. You all have my Twitter, so if you want any help, let me know, because it's not very intuitive, really, unless you're 12.
Yeah, exactly. And Josh, I have a real problem with using people's music. That's why we use Creative Commons music, not royalty free, Creative Commons music on all of the stuff we do for Noisy Little Monkey, because I have a problem using people's music without giving them attribution. Weirdly, I don't have that problem on TikTok. If I'm making TikToks, or if we're making them for the brand, so many people are doing it. I think,
but you're helping them by doing that. You're adding to it, and that's the whole point of that. The other thing is,
although this is not legal advice. If you're British Airways and you're using Diana Ross, then you are probably going to get sued.
The way of getting around that, just really quickly, if you are really scared of it, is a lot of people create TikTok audios just for the app. So you can like find just people talking, use those. There's Creative Commons stuff on there, or make your own noises. Okay, go.
Cool, excellent, thank you. And you were able to talk there over my dog barking. Perfect.
Great.
So we've got a question from, oh, a lovely name, and my ability to
You
read
being a bad
Celtic,
white person right now.
yeah, my ability
Great.
to read Celtic names has gone. But Ms. Cassidy, do you think it's worth changing to a business account on TikTok, even though it limits the sounds you can use?
Oh, that's interesting.
Neve,
Um,
that's what it is. Sorry, Neve.
Great.
My little brain doesn't
Is it
work at the
worth
minute.
changing to a business account? I think it depends on why you're changing. So if you're changing to a business account so that you can like run a huge paid campaign, probably worthwhile. Um, are you changing to a business account but you don't use the sounds that are otherwise restricted? In which case, no problem. But yeah, so I don't have any like key wisdom on that. I think it's just have a think about your goals and then work out what's best from that.
Cool.
Sorry, I couldn't
Okay.
be more helpful.
That's good. I think you've been very helpful. We've crammed an awful lot into this sort of 40 minutes. Margaret Davidson asks, who's been on fire with the questions, Margaret. Are we on a business or a personal account, Andy?
You know what? I'm going to check that because Dib set it up.
I bet we're on a personal account. That's my
I
guess,
reckon we are.
because we can
I think,
use any
yeah,
music then.
I think we
Um,
are.
let's hope there's a way to transfer to a
Yeah,
business
we're on
account
a
once we get
personal account because
billions of followers.
we can click switch to business account.
Margaret, I'm not sure that's the best thing to do.
Right. So I'll
Yeah.
just read, summarize. You can learn about your customers so you can get more insights on video performance and engagement. You can get exclusive sounds, although as you say, like some of them are limited. You can also get inspiration from Business Creative Hub, which sounds irrelevant. And you can use business features. So that'll be like when they kind of put more paid stuff out. But yeah, so we're on a personal, it's working for us.
I suspect what will happen is at some point we'll either be encouraged to, or it will become a useful incentive for us to migrate to a business account.
Exactly.
And pretty much that happened with it. If any early adopter, if you were an early adopter on Facebook, you had to set up a personal page that you then migrated to a business page. So I'm sure we've been caught in that, and it should be okay. Margaret, I wouldn't necessarily copy us. Just have a think about whether or not it's relevant for you. Copying Noise Little Monkey is always a dangerous thing to do, because the way we do our marketing is not necessarily what we would advocate for our clients a lot of the time. Andy, thank you so much. If we could get some, I would like to see some more emojis, please, in the chat for Andy, as if he has just sneezed, by way of thank you.
Everybody tweet me so that I look like not sad on Twitter.
Yeah, please.
I'm so new.
Please follow Human Satsuma on Twitter, and join us next time for consumer behavior and keyword mapping for user intent, which is going to be probably a little bit more techie than today, with Rejoice Ojaku. So we're really looking forward to that. Thank you.
That'll be so cool. Thank you everyone for your brilliant questions. If you think of any others, get in touch.